It starts off with Harry sort of walking through this field, and you just, well, hopefully, if I've done my job, you get a sense that he has been very much isolated and despondent throughout the summer. He's gone off and he's seen this awful thing happen to Cedric. He's been tortured. He's come back and no one believes that any of it happened. I'd love to live in a place like that, but I mean, you can never take anyone back because there's loads of like little house elf skulls and things that are mounted in the walls and things. You just think, oh no, you wouldn't want to bring a girl back.
I'm not sure if she'd be impressed with all the cobwebs. And
Come inside. I'll show you my collection of dead elves' heads. That's never been a line that's worked.
And there are over 30,000 of them.
We use a lot of the same materials as 60-Minute Makeover. And yet look what we do with them.
Yeah.
It's incredible. The whole place is rigged to explode. All this, and that's why nobody can have their mobile phones on, because it could evidently be triggered by that. So at any given moment, the glass could go, things out, the walls, everything. So I'm sort of willing to happen.
I was going to say, is there someone on hand ready to jump on you to protect you? Do you have like a...
You, Ben.
Is that's my role.
I always get nervous about talking about anything in front of Ivana, because you sort of go, oh God, if I say something that's not quite right about that, you'll pick me up on it, because you know everything. So she is, if any of us ever have a question about what a spell does, or what, you just go to Ivana. She's become she's like a walking book. Harry really despises her. She is a baddie who is coming from a place where the goodies are supposed to be. She's from the Ministry of Magic, who are sort of supposed to be on the side of right, and in this film obviously aren't. And Umbridge is sort of the angel of evil sent by the Ministry.
And if Umbridge refuses to teach us how, we need someone who will.
She's the brains behind everything. I mean, she's quite canny and she knows what to do, and she knows that. And actually, it's not rebellion for the sake of rebellion. It's, as with Hermione, it always is, there is a practical side to it, which is that, she feels they're not learning and she feels they need to.
They're a young Order of the Phoenix. They're set up to combat Voldemort, and Harry becomes their teacher. In effect, the defense against the dark arts teacher.
Professor Lupin was Harry's defense against the dark arts teacher in the third film.
From what I can understand from the teachers that I've spoken to, you tend to emulate the teacher that you really looked up to. And I think as Harry is this teacher and this leader, he sort of looked up to Lupin, and so he's sort of emulating him.
When I first saw Dan, after I'd been away for a long time on this, I came back and it's good to see you, Dan. I haven't seen you for a while. And he said, you'll be very proud of me, David. When I play the defense against the dark arts teacher, I've taken a few leaves out of your book and I try to play it a little like Lupin would take control of the class, and he very proudly told me he wears a cardigan.
I don't know what the thought process must have been that morning, a subconscious thing of saying, I'll go for the jumper. No, I'll wear a cardigan today, I think.
He thinks it's kind of rather quite and fuddy-duddy. Although I always wore the cardigan in a kind of Kurt Cobain way,
He teaches us all these new sort of spells and how to defend ourselves.
For everyone else, everything they learn is theory, and they probably won't have to use it. But with Neville and Harry, both of whom has essentially lost their parents to Voldemort and to the Death Eaters, it's very much a reality. The hottest place on Earth.
Was it kind of like being in a greenhouse?
Yeah, oh no, it was, you don't have fires in greenhouses.
So what is it about the prophecy that they're all so desperate to get their hands on it?
The prophecy is basically the central ingredient in Voldemort's plan for world domination. I won't say what the prophecy actually is, what it says, but it is very important. And the thing about it is that throughout the film we hear about people sneaking into the Department of Mysteries, where the Hall of Prophecy is, and dying. And what they've actually been doing is trying to get the prophecy for Voldemort. It's very, very odd related. Me and David talked to a bereavement counsellor before this film started. We wanted to find out, you know, about how people deal with grief, and she said the amount of times she meets people who have lost someone and then gone out with that person's best friend, and so that's essentially what's happened with Harry.
Had you sat down with Katie and sort of said, okay, right, this is the score, we've got to do this kiss, this is how we're going to do it? Was it something that just happened naturally? Did David offer some advice?
No, nothing, none of that.
So nervous. Sleepless nights and all
Really?
that. Yeah, I was a bag of nerves.
Did you talk to Dan about it before you did it?
We spoke about it briefly, but it's kind of awkward talking about it. You don't really want to go into detail and how we're going to go about it.
At no point in the acting school of anything does someone tell you when you kiss on screen, you sort of don't actually use tongues, generally speaking.
Right.
You sort of just, even if your mouth is open, you don't use tongues.
Don't stick your tongue.
So it's sort
Why
of like,
don't you?
Well,
Is it like
I think it's a courtesy thing.
Oh, okay.
More than anything else, Ken.
In case you're meeting something now.
Yeah, or
okay.
something like that. And so, fortunately, I knew that much. Otherwise, Katie would have been getting a very, very terrifying shock, I think.
People would just continuously come up to me and tell me that it was when it was happening and how they were all going to be there watching.
And were they?
No, there was, I think, about 10 people on set, just people who were really needed there.
The first sort of few takes, we were both pretty nervous, and we wouldn't say anything to each other after. We'd just sort of be but like 8-year-olds going, and but after that, you know, it was fine. We settled down. It was cool, and it was. But there was this ridiculous story in one of the papers. I forget which one. But it was like I'd said in an interview that we probably did the kiss about 30 times, which was true. You probably do any scene about 30 times in total, but because it was the kiss, they made it sound like I'd been like requesting more goes at it or something.
Didn't quite get it that time. Can I have another go?
No, sorry. Yeah.
In fact, when I said cut, you know, I said cut, several to cut.
It was good in the end. It was nerve-wracking though.
But you haven't watched it back?
No, God no.
You're going to have to watch it back at
Well,
some point.
I could turn away. I mean, I don't think I will. It'll be very... I mean, thing is, when I watch Harry, I don't always see myself, so I'm just hoping that will be one of the moments where I don't really see myself doing it. But otherwise, that would be a bit embarrassing.